arguing with strangers on Facebook or watching an entire season of a program on a Saturday afternoon, good for you. Continue to do so, please. If you truly enjoy it, continue to do it. But if you do it and then complain that you don't have any spare time and you don't have any money and you can't clean the house and you don't do this and you don't do that, you've lost me. Because if you tell me I don't have time to go to the gym because I have to work 10 hours a day, 6 days a week to make enough money to support my family, and then I have to come home and take care of kids, and then I have a house to take care of. Okay, you're right. You don't have enough time to go to the gym. But if you tell me I don't have enough time to go to the gym because I just watched 14 hours of fill-in-the-blank television show, you've lost me. You're not doing anything to benefit yourself. And I don't want to hear about it. It's like the trophy wife told me of a guy she saw in a grocery store, and his cart was full of cakes, cookies, candy, sugary sodas, beer, and anti-diabetes drinks. Now, come on. What are you doing? If this individual really wanted to help themselves, they would have never shopped like that. You want to buy an anti-diabetes food? It's called a vegetable. But I'll digress because I'm going down another rabbit hole, and I don't want to go down any more rabbit holes than I've already gone down, okay? But you've lost me if you don't do something to help yourself. Now, even during this pandemic, you can control your own destiny. You just have to take a different path. Now, that's not to say that things are going to be just as good or better because of the pandemic, but you can certainly soften the blow if you change directions. Now, there's a lot of people who their jobs are all but eliminated because of this pandemic. And it's going to take them time to make an adjustment and do something different. But if you're truly innovative, you can. Didn't say it was difficult. Didn't say it was easy. It's certainly difficult. Okay? But you can always do things to change your outcome. I'll tell a story. I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. It's an individual that I knew who came to me. I didn't go to them. They came to me, and they said, look, you know a little bit about money. You know a little bit about finance. You know a little bit about making adjustments to make things better for you financially. I'm having a lot of those problems. What do you suggest I do? So since this individual asked me the question, I gave them the answer. I said, let's look at your life. What do you need? I don't have enough money. That's the main thing. I'm in debt. I keep getting deeper into debt. I need more money. I said, well, have you considered a part-time job? And this individual said, no, I can't work. 40 hours a week is all I can work. I cannot make any more money than this. I can't work anymore. I'm just too tired when I come home from work. Okay. You can't make any more money. So let's talk about cutting expenses. Because that's the only way to get more money. That's the only way to become financially stronger is to increase your income, reduce your expenses, or a combination of the two. And this individual told me they cannot do anything to increase their income. Okay. I took that for what it was worth. So now let's look at decreasing expenses. You smoke, correct? Yes, I do. I said, well, a pack a day? Yeah, about a pack a day. I said, okay, I get that. Stop smoking. You go home every day for lunch, right? No, I said, what about your gasoline? They said, I spend X amount of dollars a week on gasoline. Okay. And then cut back on your trips. I really don't go anywhere except for home and here, or home and back. That's really all I do. I said, but don't you go home for lunch every day? This individual said, yes, I do. I said, then stop doing that. You'll cut your gasoline consumption in half. I said, you own a home, right? The answer is yes. I said, you cut your own grass. The individual said, no, I don't. I pay to have that done. I said, well, cut your own grass. You have a lawnmower, right? Yes, I have a lawnmower. Well, cut your own grass. Well, I can't. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I said, okay, well, you have a teenage son at home, right? Yes, I do. Have him cut the grass. Well, he's too busy too. Okay. Do you have cable TV? Yes, I do. I have satellite TV. Okay. Cancel it. And that individual looked at me. And what I asked them to do, and I think after we did the math, I think this was going to be a savings that approached $300 a month if they stopped smoking, didn't go home for lunch, cut their own grass, and canceled cable television. That's all that individual had to do. They could save about $300 a month. And with a tear in their eye, they said, I can't do any of that. I was done. I could not help that individual. I couldn't do it. That's what I'm talking about by taking a tough look and changing your own destiny. Now, in summary, take your rest. You need it, but make it count, okay? Maybe you take that phone that you used to look on Facebook with and argue with strangers. Maybe you take that phone instead and FaceTime a friend or a family member, okay? FaceTime can be a good thing for an iPhone, and Android apps have similar. There's WhatsApp and there's other things. So I use FaceTime as a generic term, like we use the term Kleenex, okay? But use that phone to FaceTime a friend if you can't visit them, especially during this pandemic. It's hard to visit people because especially those that are older or those that live far away, or you want a social distance, especially in the wintertime with the COVID numbers going up. Use that phone to FaceTime instead of arguing with strangers, okay? Figure a way to do things. Now, last but not least, in the four horsemen of work, play, eat, and sleep, or rest and sleep, is sleep. Now, I need 7 to 8 hours a day of sleep. I just need that. I can get by with 5 or 6 sometimes for 1, sometimes 2 days straight. By the third day, doesn't work. I need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And you probably do too, if you're honest. Okay? 5 to 6 hours, it just doesn't cut it. It just doesn't. Sleep is like anything else. Sometimes it takes effort to accomplish the goal. Oh, I couldn't sleep last night. Really? Well, what time did you go to bed? I went to bed about 1 in the morning. What time do you have to get up? Well, I got to get up at 6. What do you mean you couldn't sleep at night? You weren't even in bed. You didn't even try. Okay? You got to at least try. If you're not in the rack, you're not sleeping. All right? It takes effort, just like anything else. It takes effort to accomplish the goal. And if your goal is to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, if you're not in the rack, if you're not in bed, you're not going to go to sleep, okay? And you need things like a comfy bed, the right room temperature, clean sheets. You need the room to be dark, okay? Consider what you eat and drink before you go to bed. Maybe if you go to bed hungry or stuffed, if I do, I'm going to wake up at 2 in the morning with my stomach growling and I'm hungry and I'm not going to be able to sleep. Or I'm going to wake up at midnight with my heart racing because my stomach's still trying to digest food. And alcohol, if I drink before I go to sleep, I'm not going to sleep well. Maybe you do, but I don't. Consider your eat and drink before you go to sleep. Find a new way to get comfortable, okay? Remove your distractions. The phone goes into a different room each and every time. Put the phone in a different room. You've got to, okay? Get rid of the distractions. Put an effort towards achieving that goal of 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Now, I always don't get 8 good hours of sleep. I don't. If I did, I'd be king of the world. My level of accomplishment is off the chart when I am regularly getting 8 hours a night sleep. And you know this, right? When you have a good night's sleep, you can accomplish so much more. Now, that doesn't always happen. But if you increase the number of times that it does happen, you increase your level of success, your times when you have successful days. See where I'm getting to? See where I'm getting at? See what I mean? You can't disagree with it. Now, We are almost 40 minutes into this podcast, and I started off by talking about Jack Ma and Charles Koch. Remember that from the front end of the podcast from 40 minutes ago? Well, you may be saying, Strong, you can't possibly weave this Jack Ma and Charles Koch into this podcast. You can't possibly do it. Really? You've gone down that rabbit hole again? Well, no. I'm gonna do the impossible. So hold my beer. Here we go. Who is Charles Koch? Charles Koch is a billionaire, and he's 85 years old. Forbes magazine says he's the 15th richest person in the United States. He and his brother David, who's dead now, built Koch Industries. Their father actually started it, but it was very small, and they really turned it into the multinational company that it is today. Koch Industries does everything from oil to cattle, to toilet paper, to heavy manufacturing. They're a huge conglomerate. Now, politically, used to be the Koch brothers, but again, David's dead, so it's just Charles Koch. Politically, Charles Koch is the George Soros of the right. He's hated by some. He's loved by others. He's always claimed to be libertarian, however. He's never claimed to be a Republican. But he's always supported GOP candidates, not libertarian candidates, which I always found interesting. Libertarian in claim, but his money goes towards GOP candidates, not libertarians. Now, here's what's changed about Charles Koch. At age 85, he's had somewhat of an epiphany. Koch says we have too much division in the country. He's not a Trump fan. He never was. And the reason he's not a Trump fan, because he was a big Tea Party supporter. Okay, and if you remember way back when, what the Tea Party was all about, it was about lower taxes and less government. But under every administration in my life, Republican and Democrat, with the exception of 1 year with Bill Clinton, our deficit got bigger and bigger and bigger. And government has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, even with the GOP in charge. So that Tea Party idea has failed. Now, Koch touts what he calls prairie libertarianism. And he calls it that because he's from Kansas. Wichita, Kansas is where Koch Industries is located. And he still does tout prairie libertarianism. He still does, but he realizes that backing the GOP has not accomplished his goals for the country. In fact, I'll quote, Charles Koch says, people are best when applying their specific talents to the problems they know firsthand. Tying people's individual strengths together can make an institution a force multiplier, but curtailing those talents in a top-down system leads to decline and disorder. Okay? And I agree with that. We've had top-down for a long, long time, and Koch has backed that, and it's led to decline and disorder in the country. Now, here's the problem. Freedom is under attack by people who want to take control from the individuals. That's Koch's idea as well. I'll read that again. Freedom is under attack by people who want to take control from individuals and create a top-down system that stifles innovation. Now, what is Koch doing about that? He's worth billions, okay? Tens of billions he's worth. More money than God. But he's partnering with organizations like the LeBron James Family Foundation, the ACLU, and he's even given money to some right-thinking DNC legislators. Now, here's why that's a good thing. You think to yourself, well, Koch's gone lib on us, okay? He's given money to LeBron James Foundation, the ACLU. What the heck is that all about? Well, do you think he's just writing a check and say, here, go on with the status quo? No, he's showing up to meetings, or his people are showing up to meetings with the check in hand saying, let's sit down and discuss some things. So the Koch Foundation, which has been far right, is partnering with the LeBron James Family Foundation and the ACLU and some Democrats, which in the past have been somewhat to the left. And they're finding common